Welcome to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your angel medium, Julie Jancius, and today we're sharing your angel stories. Why do our angels and loved ones above show us signs? Yes, they want us to know they're okay and at peace, but deeper than that, they want us to connect with them so that they can help us more from the other side. Friends, it all begins with your intuition, vibration, and experiencing oneness. Your intuition is your soul's voice. It's also how your loved ones talk to you from heaven. In this podcast, we teach you how to turn up the volume on your intuition so that you can hear their loving messages more clearly. We also teach you how to raise your vibration and feel your oneness with all that is. Friends, you are here to love, give love, receive love, be love, radiate love. And because your soul is love, all you really ever have to do is just be. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your author and host, Julie Jancius. And today we are here with Kelley, who has some very, very amazing angel stories to share with you. Kelley, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I should let everybody know, if you want to follow us over at Instagram at Angel Podcast, and if you want to follow us over at YouTube under Julie Jancius, you can see us actually at YouTube. We're live, not live in person, but you can see the video of this recording. So Kelley, welcome to the show, and I'm going to have you take it away and start to share your angel stories.
Okay, so my first one, I'll start. My dad passed away in 2012. We were really close. I'm going to try not to cry because I always cry when I talk about my dad.
That's okay. Let the tears fall down because that's just like a release of energy. That's okay.
I have a lot of energy to release then because No. So my dad passed away. He had been sick off and on, just with some general health issues. So when he passed away, he had been doing really well and it was unexpected. And it's one of those things I remember exactly where I was and exactly what I was doing when I got the phone call. So I rushed to the hospital. This wasn't the first time that this had happened where they were like, Dad's in the hospital, you need to come in. But this time felt different. My husband was at home. My kids were, he was at my in-laws, and I rushed over there to drop them off. So I got to the hospital and my dad had gone, he had passed. He was brought by ambulance. And it was just, obviously, for anybody to lose a parent, it's extremely hard. But anyway, so we knew he'd passed and, you go through all the motions and it's a lot. It was a lot. I was 27 years old when he passed away. And I felt really cheated and mad. And I was upset at him and God and everybody else. And it took me a long time to admit that I was mad at my dad. Not more so just because of his health, could have been probably prevented had he taken care of himself. A lot of it was unfortunately self-inflicted things that could have been dealt with. So after, everything kind of settled down, the funeral was over and everything, my mom had asked each of us girls, there's 3 of us, what we would like for, from Dad or of his. And I couldn't think of anything that I really wanted other than a Buckeye, which I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Okay. Oh, like the Ohio Buckeyes?
Yeah. So
oh my gosh.
He used to carry them in his pocket and they were good luck, he always said. So he carried it in his pocket. And so Mom's like, all right, well, she went to look for it and she's like, she couldn't find it anywhere. There were, So I was like, okay, well, there was a couple other things that I'd wanted. I wanted one of his sweaters that he wore frequently. Whenever, well, I say frequently, when my dad dressed up, and he always looked so handsome when he dressed up, but he always had a particular sweater that he looked so nice in. So that's what I got. And that was fine. You know, I was satisfied with that. We figured that the Buckeye had probably gotten thrown away due to, you know, it just being worn out or whatever. He must have tossed it. So through the mourning process and going through all of this, my Aunt Gail, which is my mom's sister, she has always been my best friend and more like a sister. But she helped me terribly through this. I mean, just worked through things and helped me kind of see through the dark days. She unfortunately had breast cancer and had been battling that for years. Little did I know at the time that it was getting worse, and she had not hadn't told anybody, and especially not me, even though I knew something was wrong. I'm sorry. But I knew something was wrong. When I talked to her, I could feel it. And finally it got to the point where she had to tell us that it had gotten quite bad and there really wasn't anything they could do. She was in that hospital several times. So she was in and out of the hospital several times, and I was with her as much as I could be. Of course, that was pre-COVID, so that was very nice because I could go up to the hospital and see her and spend a lot of time with her. So we knew that she wasn't going to make it. It was in December, and my family and I had planned a little trip to Branson that weekend, and my aunt was in the hospital. There was a very good chance she wasn't going to make it through the weekend, and I was going to cancel my trip. And Gail made me promise I wouldn't, of course, because she wasn't going to have it. And so I went, and of course, we enjoyed our time, but it was just, always in the back of my mind. I was so worried something was going to happen while we were down there. And that's about 2 hours away from the hospital where she was. And I knew I wouldn't be able to get there. So we went, and she made it through the weekend, which I was very thankful for. But as I was leaving, I got a phone call saying, Gail's getting worse and she's, not really conscious right now. We just wanted to let you know. So we rushed back home. My husband dropped me off at the hospital and he went home with the kids. So I went up and I talked to her and told her, I was there and, I didn't want her to suffer anymore and that, I understood that she had to go. And she was completely sedated and not responsive to anything. So I stayed there for a few hours with some of my other family, and I ended up leaving with her husband and her 2 children, and we went to do a little shopping because they had to get things to wear and make arrangements and stuff. And later that night, she did end up passing. So she, we went through all the arrangements. I went with my uncle and nephew and niece through the whole process, which was extremely difficult because we had just done it in August. My dad passed away. And this was in that same year, in that December. So it was hard walking into the same funeral home, the same place, and going through, initially, it was the same thing as what we had just done a few months prior. So this whole time I am just praying, and again, I'm so angry and frustrated. that two people that I love so much were taken. They were taken from me, and I felt like it was so soon and just too much to deal with. I'm close to my sisters too, and I was talking to them too, but I always felt like I could be more open with Gail in telling her things. She never judged me. Not that my sisters judged me. I just felt like I could tell her anything. So in this process, I am telling her and Dad, I'm like, how am I going to do this? I don't have Dad to get me through Gail. I don't have Gail to help me get through Dad's passing. What am I going to do? I was like, I just need a sign. And I mean, I begged and I cried. And the day of my Aunt Gail's funeral, I was rushing around trying to get ready. At that time I had 3 small children. I wasn't going to take them to the funeral again because I just felt like it was too much for them and for me. So I was getting them ready to go to my in-laws, and I can't tell you what I was looking for, but I was looking for something in the living room. And I pulled up my couch cushion, and there's a Buckeye underneath my couch cushion. I don't know where or how. There's zero explanation. My husband doesn't carry one. Nobody, how that got there is beyond me. But I stopped and I was like, okay, so they're here. They understand that I need their help. And so I went, we went to the funeral and through the whole process and, everything. And I was still very upset, obviously. And it took me a long time and I still, obviously, I'm crying my eyes out, to work through this. And one day I had come home, and it was a particularly hard day. I can't tell you why or what it was, but again, I was talking to them and asking for another sign. And when I found I should tell you this, when I found the original Buckeye, I put it into my purse, and that's where it has stayed. So I get home one day and I walk in and I have an island in my kitchen, and there's another Buckeye laying in the middle of the island. Nobody had been home. There's nobody that could have put it there. And there it is, just laying there. And I just had full chills all over my body, and I picked it up and I was like, okay, guys, I got it. You're here, you're helping me, you're watching over me, you hear me and you see me. So that's my first angel story. That's one I hold very dear. That's probably one of my favorite, or if not my favorite story, because I've never to this day quite had anything that big happen where I've actually found something that wasn't there. I get feathers frequently, but I always feel like, okay, that's more something that you would find. A Buckeye is not something that you just find laying around.
Well, I was going to ask you that, because I'm from the Midwest, and, you go out and, what are they? Pine cones are like a dime a dozen, right? You go, but, and so I used to work for a college, and our college faced off with Ohio State one year at Ohio State. So we got to go there, and I was like, man, I missed out. This college is the funnest college of all colleges. If I knew what I knew now, I would totally go to Ohio State, hands down. But just for the social aspect, of course, because I don't know if people know this, but it's like right near a downtown. So
really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like you just go, and it's the funnest campus on earth, and then you walk downtown, and then there's like more. I guess I'm a social butterfly. I like the social aspect.
You like the social aspect, yeah.
But getting back to my initial question over here, so pine cones are a dime a dozen. In Ohio, are Buckeyes like a dime a dozen? Like, do you see them everywhere outside?
I'm actually from Missouri, so
Oh,
they're not here. A
wow.
lady that I used to work with had a Buckeye tree in her yard, but that was the only
But it's not like it's in your
not
neighborhood.
like no, no. I didn't even know where they came from until I was an adult. I was like, oh, they come off a tree. I don't know. I thought maybe they came from bucks. I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
Yeah.
So,
So
well, that's
at least,
fascinating to me because, like it would be one thing if you were in Ohio and these things are all over the ground, but I think this clarifies for everybody, like just how rare and how special this really was.
it was extremely, extremely special and not something that I ever expected. And I once was amazing, twice was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I still get chills when I think about it because it's such a confirmation to me, and it was so comforting to me to have them give me that big of a sign. We've lost a lot of people in our family, and I've never, that was the hardest. Those two were the absolute hardest. I mean, I love my grandparents and my uncle and stuff, but I mean, it was just that those were the two hardest deaths I've ever had to go through. And to get that big of a confirmation from them that they are still here with me and watching over me, and that they are, seeing my kids and they're going to be here, was just, I don't know. I can't even put words to it. It was just extremely
Yeah.
touching.
Yeah. There's a couple of things that popped up in your story that I wrote down. One of the things that you said was that you were mad at dad for not taking care of himself. And I totally felt that when you said that, just to the core of me. Because when you said that, I felt his energy come through and really speak really loudly and clearly. And what he showed me is it's so hard, right? Like it's so hard to just be a human being and all of the stress and the anxiety and everything that goes along with life. And I've been facing this, like, if I don't eat a very specific way, this whole like horrendous pain in my chest comes back, this horrendous pain in my esophagus. And yet it comes back if I just don't eat meat, vegetables, and I can't even eat all fruits. It's like
Oh no.
watermelon, and cantaloupe, right? And he said, Julie, and I gotta be honest with you, Kelley, it's a choice, right? That I am having to get up and make every single day of like, okay, this is what I have to do for my own health right now. And I have to be honest in that there's been some days where I've almost like grieved food because we come from an Italian family, and it's like food is the way that like I comfort myself, and food means I love you, and I know that it really doesn't, but it's just the way that I was socialized, right?
I understand.
So he was coming through showing me some of this, and he said, I wish I would have chosen differently. And he said, it was easy for me in the moment to say, F it all, and just, and not take care of himself. Because he said, to some degree, in my humanness, I just wanted to live. Right. And I was just like, like we all are sometimes just trying to survive. And yet he said, going through what he went through and going to the other side and going through his karmic life review and having to feel the pain that everybody went through and losing him, we know earlier than he should have gone. He says he's sorry, and he just needs you to know how sorry he is and that he feels it on a different level. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you have the brother, Kelley?
I don't have a brother. It was my mom's brother that passed, Luane. He's passed. I have a brother-in-law, two brother-in-laws.
I feel like there was two energies coming through, one of a brother and one of your son. Do you have one son?
I have a son, yes.
Okay. And is he one of your younger?
He's my youngest.
Okay, because your dad keeps saying that one of the other signs that comes through is like you see him sometimes through your son's like mannerisms or like the way that, and I need you to know it's kind of like a puppet, right? Your dad's not in your son's body. He's not taking up his energy, but he's able to manipulate things so that what you see registers for you that's oh my God, like that's so dad right now. That's so dad
Oh,
coming through.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Julie. You aren't going to put all this on YouTube, are you? I'm like blubbering.
No, you're totally fine. You're totally
Oh my
fine.
gosh.
I will put it on YouTube, but you look great and you're totally fine. Oh, no, I love you. So I know that you have another angel story. Let's tell that one real quick.
Okay, so my next angel story is when I was younger. I was 13 when I lost my grandpa. And I've always known that I'm very intuitive, but this is probably one of the first times that I really realized there was something more to it. So when I was 13, well, really, when I was younger, I should say, my grandpa used to come pick me up, and he was a very early riser. And when I say early riser, like 3 a.m. And he loved to fish. So we had a fishing pond that we would go to frequently. And he would always say, I'm going to pick you up early. And I'm like, okay, Grandpa, what time? And he's like, oh, probably 5. 5 meant more like 3:30. And so he would come, and my dad was a horrible sleeper. He was up all the time watching TV all night. So, or, laying on the floor doing, watching something or not sleeping. And he always knew when Grandpa got there, he'd hear him pull in, and Grandpa'd come in, and they'd let me sleep till maybe 4:30, and that was sleeping late. And then Dad'd come up and be like, okay, Grandpa's here, you need to get up and get going. He's chomping at the bit. So I would get changed, and I'd drag downstairs, and I'd be like, all right, Grandpa, let's go fishing. And so he was a crazy driver. So we'd go down to the pond and fish. So we did this, all the time. So one night I was dreaming, and I had a dream, and it was my grandpa. And we were like in a field, like kind of up on a hill by a tree. And he was sitting there, and he's like, I have to go. And I'm like, I don't want you to go. And he's like, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. I love you. Well, I'm always going to be here with you. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he told me goodbye, essentially. And I remember waking up, and I laid there, and I was like, that was so weird. And I was supposed to babysit my sister Sheila's kids that day. Or her, I don't remember what she was doing, but anyway, I was supposed to babysit. So I get up, and I start getting ready, and I could tell something was wrong with my mom. They wouldn't tell me what. My sisters lived actually across the street from each other. So my mom drove me to my sister Sheila's house, and picked Sheila up, and Sheila, I could tell, had been crying. And I was like, well, that's weird. Nick didn't leave, and that's her husband, my sister's husband. And I was like, why am I babysitting if Nick is still here? I could tell something was wrong with him. He's like, I'm going to go he just kind of made an excuse to go downstairs and do something. And I saw my other sister come running out of her house and get into the car. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I didn't even think about my dream. It didn't cross my mind. I just went on to play with my nephew and niece. And later they came back and told me that Grandpa had passed. And I did not take it well. obviously. Um, so, and I honestly, I don't even think I thought about that dream until a couple days later. And I was sitting there and it was just like it hit me. And I was like, oh my gosh, Grandpa came and told me goodbye that night before he passed. And then I have one other story about Grandpa if we have time.
Yeah, you can tell it real quick.
Okay. So when I was younger again, they owned a dance club. It was called the Lomo Club. And when my grandma got sick, she had Alzheimer's, so she was in a nursing home and stuff. And my grandpa wasn't in great health. He had a lot of heart issues. But my parents took over running it for Grandpa. And it was country music and like old time kind of like waltzing and square dancing and all that stuff. That's how I grew up dancing to all that stuff. So one day when Grandpa was still here on earth, he was, I don't know, I can't remember what song it was. It was a waltz, but he had requested a waltz and they played it. And he's like, I'm going to dance with my sugar. That's what he always called me, my little sugar. And my dad's like, my grandpa, to be fair, he was on oxygen. I mean, like he was not in good health at all and got winded walking across the room, much less trying to dance. And my dad was like, Dad, you can't go out there and do that, you know? So Grandpa was like, finally, okay, you know, he was not very happy, but he didn't. So one night I had a dream and I was in the concession stand, which is where I typically was. I would work back there and stuff. There was a door whenever you walked in, and it had like the old latches on it, you know, like where you flipped it. Well, we always had it latched because, you know, that way nobody could come in if we walked away. And I'm standing there at the register and I see like the latch come up and I'm like, what the heck? And my grandpa walks in and I can just see like him from here to about like his chest. And I start crying and I'm like, Grandpa, what are you doing here? You can't be here. He's like, I can be here. And I was like, well, you died. And he goes, I did. He goes, and you know what? Now I get to come back and I get to dance with my sugar. And then I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is so, yeah, I have so many sweet stories like that. I'm very blessed in
Yes, you
in the
are.
communication that my loved ones give me. But yeah, those are some of my favorite stories.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on today, Kelley, and blessing everyone here with just these stories that inspire hope and inspiration in others, right? Because
Yes.
if you see a sign one time, you are open to signs. And what scientists say is that when you open your energy and your belief system to believing in, they call it synchronicities. I like the word signs more. When you open yourself to these signs, what happens is you see more and more and more and more. And so kudos to you for just opening your energy. It's an amazing step in awakening, and just continue to work with your loved ones on the other side because they are right there for you and just guiding you every single day of your life. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. To everybody listening, if you want to join us over on Instagram, I'm going live some weeknights. I have you on. If you like, press that little, oh gosh, what it looks like a camera, like a film recorder with a plus sign in it. When you go live and you see me going live, you press that button and it says, hey, I want to go live with Julie. And when you do that, I can see it on my side. And every time that I'm on, if I have time, maybe once or twice a week, I try and bring somebody else on live with me over there. You can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Angel Podcast. Friends, thank you so much for being here today. Open up your heart to all of the unexpected blessings, gifts, miracles that your loved ones are trying to bring into you right now. Beautiful souls, I just want us to take a moment and pray together. I want you to start by taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I just want you to feel your crown chakra opening at the top of your head. I want you to feel God's loving oneness energy pouring like a waterfall of love into your entire body, surrounding your auric field, filling every molecule of space within you, surrounding you. And I want you to feel that you are so filled to the brim with oneness energy that it begins to radiate out like the rays of energy that radiate out from the sun. And friends, what I want to do this month is every time you come to the podcast, I want us just to pray together. The reason we pray, we have shown it scientifically, it does make a difference. When you pray, they have shown scientifically that it does something within another person's energy field. That person might not know that they are being prayed for, but something is happening energetically. So let's just come together today and pray. There's a lot happening in the world right now, and this is not about letting fear consume you. This is about taking your energy and directing it the way you want it to go. And so we're going to use our intention today. We're going to use the love that God has just poured into us today to radiate that love out, radiate our intent, prayers, ask God to surround angels with the people on earth who need it. And in particular today, we're going to ask that God surround with angels the people of Ukraine, to provide the people of Ukraine with angels that give them strength, that give them hope, that give them divine wisdom. Friends, this isn't a political thing whatsoever. This is a human thing. This is a collective consciousness thing. And what we're doing today is bringing more love into this world. So I want you to just take a moment to pray with me. Dear God, universe source, we know that there are babies that should be in a NICU right now, special needs children who should be in an ICU hospital right now, who are not able to because of the conflict that is happening in Ukraine. And God, we ask you to protect those children, to heal those children, to surround those children with the angels that they need to give them everything to become fully 110% healthy. God, universe source, we pray for the mothers who are pregnant right now, who are fear-filled of how they're going to give birth, where they're going to give birth. We ask you to put their hearts, their minds at ease and create a safe place for them to bear children into this world. God, we pray for the displaced families, the children who are unsure of what's going on, who have fear in their hearts. We pray for those children to be surrounded by angels of comfort, angels of love who fill them up so that they know they're not alone and they feel a semblance of safety, of security. We also pray for those displaced families, those who are left behind, those who are still fighting. God, we ask you to give them courage. We ask you to give them strength. We ask you to fill them with every single thing that it is that they need to get through this time in their life. God, universe, source, we ask you to provide everyone in Ukraine with angels to surround them. God, universe, source, we also pray for those who have lost somebody in this conflict, that you help bring healing to the hearts of those who are left behind. And friends, I just want you to take a moment to add in your own prayer right here, right now. Friends, your angels ask you to hold a vision of future Earth, and that is one filled with peace, with love, where there is all peace on earth. And if your egoic mind comes in, gets in the way and says, that's not possible, Julie, it is. We all have to hold that vision within our minds right now. So start by holding it within yours, by seeing all of earth as peace-filled, as loving towards one another. Your angels say that now more than ever, it's so important for you to do your own work on yourself. Because when you're spiritually healthy individually, it leads to us being spiritually healthy as a collective. So doing the work on yourself individually lends itself to peace within all. When you have peace within you, we can have peace within the collective. So friends, please know that your angels do not want you to be fear-filled. They want you to, anytime your egoic mind brings in fear, use your intention. Use your ability to pray. There is no wrong way to pray for people you care about, even if you don't know them. Use this opportunity to look at your own life and the lessons that God, universe, source, your angels are trying to bring into you right now on how to bring more peace into your life. So that as you create a more peace-filled world for yourself, we can come into a more peace-filled collective as a whole. Friends, I want you to see one more time peace on earth, peace within yourself, peace within your own life. I want you to send that energy that you are filled with, that oneness energy, out to the world, out to the people of Ukraine, out to everyone on this planet who needs it. Remember, it's not coming from you. It's coming through you from God, universe, source. If you allow it to, that oneness energy is an unlimited source that will flow through you to everybody who needs it here on earth. Friends, thank you for coming together. Thank you for praying with me. Thank you for sending love out into the universe. Every single time your egoic mind tries to bring you back into a fear state, I just want you to stop for 30 seconds, call in your angels, and just pray. Just feel that oneness automatically radiating within your body and just send it out into the world to those who need it. Friends, I love you. Spirit loves you. Your angels, your loved ones on the other side, they are looking out for you. They're with you right here, right now. Open up your heart to miracles, to blessings, to this vision of peace filling this world. Bye, friends.